I like the Texans +3 here, and this is probably the least exciting game of the playoff slate, so let's get it out of the way early. But it has a lot of betting value. The public's treating the Chargers like world beaters. I don't think we should be, because when you look at them against teams above 500, they're just 3-5 this season. Houston didn't end the season well. We know that. It's been a disappointing year for them. They lost 2 of their final 3 games to the Chiefs and the Ravens, but Los Angeles is not on the same level as Kansas City and Baltimore coming into this spot. Texans haven't necessarily hit their ceiling yet. They have underperformed, but the home crowd should help in this one. They do have a ton of injuries to talk about, Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs to name a few here, but they're still playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, they have a loaded offense when it comes to talent, so you still have Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz, and of course Joe Mixon running the ball. The defense has carried Houston all season, so that's the reason I'm willing to take them here at +3. The offense hasn't necessarily been good, so if they're not good in this game, it's going to be no surprise. But neither offense really gives me a lot of confidence. I don't think the Chargers have been very consistent. They've been up and down here. They're going to have a tough challenge coming on the road and facing a really good Houston Texans defense. So I think both defenses play well. Hopefully the Texans offense can make one more play, but I'll take the points with the home team for 2 teams that I think are pretty even overall. Well, not going with the same Justin Herbert logic here. I'm going with the under of 48.5 rushing yards for Lamar Jackson here. Ravens being nearly a 10-point favorite in a divisional playoff game, I think it's a little bit lofty because the Steelers have historically been really good shutting down Jackson. Jackson's just 3-5 against Pittsburgh in his career, and I'm not saying Pittsburgh's going to win the game here, but they've done a very good job containing him when it comes to throwing the ball, just 8 passing touchdowns, 9 interceptions. And Mike Tomlin's an elite defensive mind, and I think the thing that he does really well when he faces Lamar Jackson is make sure that his players have rush lane integrity. They keep him in the pocket, and when they do that, they disrupt the pass game. They also disrupt his ability to run the ball. If Jackson can't escape the pocket, he becomes much less effective as a quarterback overall, and the Steelers have proven that they can get this done. When you look at the rushing line set at 48.5 yards here, he went under this total in both games against the Steelers this season. He's only surpassed this 48.5 yard total in his 8 career games just 3 times against Pittsburgh. So while I do like Baltimore to win the game, I think Pittsburgh has the game script to keep it close. Being nearly a 10-point dog is just going to motivate them even more here. I think the defense comes out, plays really well, and at least contains Lamar Jackson when it comes to running the football. I think we got a lot of tough spreads this weekend as well, Joe, so that's more why I'm leaning towards the props here. But I think the Buccaneers are going to be really competitive in this game, obviously, at home. And that starts with Bucky Irving, over 114.5 rushing plus receiving yards. When you look at Bucky Irving, he's going against the offensive rookie of the year, but he definitely should have been in that conversation. 1,122 rushing yards, 392 receiving, 8 touchdowns. He's been fantastic. He's really kept Tampa Bay afloat here. And when you look at the Commanders, they rank 20th in defensive rusher rating, 19th in defensive passer rating, and 30th in total team yards allowed, according to coldhardfootballfacts.com. The Buccaneers had a huge offensive game in week 1 when they played them. I know Washington's a totally different team, but they found success, should bring the confidence into this game as well. The reason I'm taking a combined total for Irving here, when you look at him, he's a strong pass catcher out of the backfield, and his reps have just gone up and up. He's really taken those third down reps away from Rachaad White, so he's on the field more. That's going to lead to more stats here. Assuming this is going to be a close nail-biting game as we see a 3-point spread, Bucky Irving's on the field a lot here, so I think he's going to get the rushing carries, but I also think he's going to get the screens out of the backfield. I think he's going to be the safety valve for the Commanders' pass rush, and Baker's going to drop a few off to him. That could lead to big yards, and I don't want to miss out on it. So I'm going to take the combined total for Irving. Well, this could be my favorite prop of the weekend. Justin Jefferson over 90.5 receiving yards. If you had a Justin Jefferson anytime ticket on Sunday Night Football, you feel exactly how I did. You remember every throw that happened down near the goal line because Sam Darnold and him were trying to connect. They just couldn't get it done. Jefferson dropped a touchdown pass. Darnold missed a few throws that he should have never missed. And while the stats weren't massive for them in that game overall, I mean, Justin Jefferson did average 18 yards per catch. He only had 3 of them, though. The most recent game showed that Kevin O'Connell is going to try to get the ball into his star players' hands, and that is Justin Jefferson consistently. It's a big game. I think we see a similar approach here against Los Angeles. Rams don't have a good secondary. They're ranked 21st in defensive real passing yards per attempt and 23rd in defensive passer rating, according to coldhardfootballfacts.com. Jefferson had 8 catches for 115 in his last game against Los Angeles. We know they're going to force feed him the football. They have to do that to get the confidence back up. And I expect Sam Darnold to come out and be a lot better in this game than he was against the Detroit Lions here. So look for a big performance coming off the loss. I know there's that theory, again, how teams don't cover the week after playing the Lions. So that's my fear of playing Minnesota in this spot. But they're overall the better football team from an offensive perspective and a defensive perspective here. I think Jefferson has a huge game, 90.5 yards, should be no problem for him, even though it is a pretty high total.